It was met with quiet resistance from John Reynolds, who, although he was, like Meade and McClellan, a Democrat, scrupulously avoided the fashion for officers in high command to go to Washington to give advice as to who ought to be put at the head of the army, keeping guardedly free from any of the heartburnings and jealousies that did so much to cripple the usefulness of so many gallant officers. Instead, Reynolds was dismayed at Meade's dilatory measures and feared that Meade would permit Lee either to have taken Harrisburg or gone on ad infinitum plundering the state of Pennsylvania. It is uncertain whether Meade's fallback order to Pipe Creek ever actually made it into Reynolds' hands. But what is clear is that Meade had allowed Reynolds' First Corps, along with the Third Corps and the 11th Corps, actually to cross into Pennsylvania more as a mask to cover the formation upon Pipe Creek than anything else. And Meade clearly contemplated a withdrawal from, not an advance upon, Gettysburg. Reynolds, either directly or indirectly, disobeyed Meade. Briefed in person by John Buford on the afternoon of June 30th, Reynolds that evening summoned Oliver Otis Howard to a meeting at Reynolds' Marsh Creek headquarters, warning Howard that Buford is in Gettysburg and found a regiment of rebel infantry there. Reynolds had no intention of falling back to Pipe Creek or anywhere else. He had gone there to stay. And the next morning, when Reynolds marched up to Buford's relief on McPherson's Ridge, west of Gettysburg, Reynolds simply sent back to Meade an aide informing the new Army commander that, while I am aware that it is not your desire to force an engagement at that point, still, I feel at liberty to advance and develop the strength of the enemy. But even after receiving what turned out to be John Reynolds' last message, Meade still hesitated to commit the Army of the Potomac to fight at Gettysburg. Instead, Meade remained fixed at his temporary headquarters at Taneytown, Maryland, and sent Winfield Scott Hancock as his personal emissary to Gettysburg to report on the situation. It was not until Hancock's report came back, partially approving this line, that Meade finally set off for Gettysburg, arriving by 1 o'clock on the morning of July 2nd. From that moment, a long train of grievances and quarrels with George Meade began to emerge from the command ranks of the Army of the Potomac.